also probably say experience and kind of removing the fear of failure, because lots of the things we do in
Fear of what?
failure.
Okay.
Because a lot of the things we do now in terms of work, maybe business or whatever, you see people even asking me for advice on certain businesses, and no matter what, I always tell them, so long as you're not losing too much from this, do it. Because even if it doesn't work out how you want it to work out or whatever, you are bound to learn from it, which will help you in the next steps, and it will help you in life and help everything, organize everything.
Also, I think at a starting point you need to redefine what success is to you, basically, because there's this stereotype that success comes like for when you have a job, when you're working, or when you're earning a salary. That's success for some people. But the thing is, we fail to realize the talents that you have as a child from the start, like what is part of you in this modern day and century. It is very, very key and can go a long way in bringing in income for you. So it's not basically just going to the office. People that can play football, people that can speak. So success is not only from getting that degree, finishing it. Exactly. So if you explore your talents, I believe you can find success in that. Not only yes.
I think what hinders a lot of people from exploring their talents and capitalizing or gaining from it is the lack of opportunities that are present. Now, internationally, take for instance playing football. That is something that is seen as a path to success. It is something that if from the get-go I say I want to play football, they invest solely in that. But in Nigeria, it is, although it is seen at times as an opportunity to success, but not enough, because the world of football as it is today, we have players going to Saudi Arabia earning over £400,000 a week, which is a lot of money, life-changing money. A quarter of that is life-changing money for anybody. So the thing is, in Nigeria, we are not as open to change up top, I believe. I believe Gen Z, we are more flexible with new trends that come about. Take TikTok, for instance, is a new social media platform. It doesn't take a lot of work, although it takes a bit of luck to become sensational, to become popular, to gain traction. And you never know where that traction in life will take you, but it isn't seen as something it isn't taken as something seriously. Like organizations overseas, they have TikTok accounts. The same way corporations will have maybe Facebook, maybe Instagram. TikTok is seen as a way to market yourself. It is a very, very, very big platform that a lot of sharp minds are on, and I believe untapped resources like that limits the opportunities we have to better ourselves.
Would you say that's more of a cultural thing, or like you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think it's systematic actually, because like we've said, there are certain issues we face here, even in our own country, that other countries might not face. For example, here in Nigeria, as you said, football, for example, we know the struggles of the average Nigerian. We know what people in this country are going through, and really, really going through. So for somebody now that is really, really struggling, and his son is telling him he wants to be a footballer, he's not thinking about that's a 1 in a million chance. That's why he's thinking he's going to tell him to go and do something that's more concrete, more. So if you look at it overall, this is all systematic. It's a part of the lack of jobs, the lack of opportunities, because in somewhere like the UK, there's kind of, again, more wiggle room, more comfort around you. So if you say, for instance, you want to be a footballer and it doesn't work out, you still have something to go back to. Whereas in Nigeria, if you want to be a footballer, it might be do or die for you. You have no other option. And so it all goes back to the system in my opinion.
But like you said, it still boils down to, it's a cultural problem basically, because I wouldn't say it's a stereotype, but it's how because for example now in a typical Nigerian home, if you say you want to play football, you're just seen as an unserious kid. Like it still comes back to the fact that they just deem success down to go to school, get the degree, finish, and get a job. So they don't see an opportunity in you playing football, even if the skill is there. And that it becomes something, because it kills a child's self-esteem. I know this is what I'm good at, I know this is what I want to do, but I'm forced to do a law degree somewhere else where I'm not going to put in much effort. Then the bad grades come, then I fail, then it becomes a very big problem. So I believe parents particularly need to encourage children more. If you have a dream, if you have a talent, if you have something that you give it a chance. If it doesn't work, then you can always have another chance at doing something else. But initially, you should just allow a kid to follow his dreams.
But sometimes
not the parents' dream.
But sometimes you have to look at it realistically, and the fact right now a child wants to play football in Nigeria. There is no opportunity for that. There's no specific academy or the government is doing this sort of program or taking people's there or taking people like outside to go and for trials and stuff like that, bringing in teams from outside to come and see the talent that there is here. So as a parent, I feel like if you're looking at that, you'll see like, what's the point of my child doing this? Or where is he even going to? How am I even going to fund for this child to do that when I can't even buy food to eat? So you look at that, like just go to school, then they think go to school, get this job, you have a sustained income and whatnot. But then if there's also input from the government saying, oh, we'll have these type of programs, this and this that will help people to develop infrastructure, things like that. So I feel like we need to also diversify. Government also needs to put a hand in it, diversify the different sectors that they can say, oh, okay, we can help here. Ministry of Youth, Sport, art and stuff like that. The people, art, different things can be
I
also
agree with you
provided.
completely, but then what I want to point out to you again is the fact that is the problem. You do understand, yes, there's an opportunity there, and your kid wants to venture into that part or aspect of life. But then the fact that you see that there's no opportunity in it in Nigeria doesn't mean you should kill the dream down completely. Because that is there. What are the parents who their children wants to play football? What are they doing to make sure that something's happening? You need to advocate for it. Make it known that, okay, yes, because it's never going to sort itself out if you just sit down and say, okay, the child wants to play football, there's no opportunity here, so he has to put aside the dream. Obviously, it might not work for you at that time, but the effort you put in might help somebody coming after you. If you're not able to do it now, but because you lent your voice to it, I think there needs to be that type of
Start to change.
to the movement. Don't just sit back down and say, okay, the opportunity is not there, it's never going to come, and because of that, I'm not going to put in effort. That is where the problem is.
It begins to turn into a side of being maybe too realistic. Because you're trying to be realistic, but then there's also something called fate or chance. You know, you think too much tactically about it, and you leave aside the possibilities that could come. And for example, you say the chances are slim, which they are slim, but then you say the child is not going to go into sports or go into something artistic, and then you say go to school, but then some parents would still pay for fees for the child to go to school. It's still money being spent. It's still something coming out of their pockets, but they could easily divert those funds into at least giving that dream of the child a chance. So it's still something, it's less likely, but even if they don't make it, at least they know they tried, and there's other places where they could fall into within that region that they could feel at least satisfied.
I feel like that has to do more with the limiting factors of the typical Nigerian household. Because I barely have enough to put food on the table, and you want me to buy drawing supplies for you for something that might, for all I know, might be a hobby that you quit after 2 years. But that is where I feel like it boils down to, because if the common Nigerian does not have the financial stability necessary to fund, or even if it is a little, into their child's dream, then there won't be as much innovation as is needed to become what we know we can be. I think seeing venturing into other places other than football, art specifically. There are people in overseas that earn that due to their specific talents. They partner with amazing companies. I know there's an artist that recently collaborated with Rolex. I think his name is Sloan.
He's Nigerian as
He's
well.
Nigerian as well. It is these kind of things that we look up to, that we see, okay, a Nigerian has that talent. Who's to say I don't? But due to the financial strain at home, I lack what is necessary to be able to build myself into becoming the next or even the better version of him. And it isn't a singular project that he has done to say that, okay, it might be a one-hit wonder per se. Like, it's just luck. It is determination, it's hard work that produces consistent results. But we will not be able to start that process without money as well.
And that is a complete example of the problem. He's Nigerian, he's British as well. So if he wasn't British, he wouldn't have gotten the opportunity basically. The fact that he's Nigerian, he's Nigerian, but because he left basically, and after schooling there and whatnot, he stayed abroad. Those opportunities came to him. He collaborated with FA.
Yes,
to design the cup. And he's just an artist. The drawing, if you look at it, not everybody even likes it. But because he had that opportunity, he was able to go. A lot of people wouldn't get that. Basically.
And these kind of things bring Nigeria into the public eye. We become more popular. As of recent years, Nigerian music has, although it has always had a bit of traction internationally, it is big now. Our artists are regularly selling out shows in big venues. So we have the attention that we need to grow, but the infrastructure, the access that the common man has to what he needs to become the next big thing is what we lack. And concerning that has to do with accountability and the system being put in place. Because even if I build a house today, if I don't keep up with the house, the maintenance, if now it floods, I don't come and check on my building, after 20 years, it's no longer going to be there. And it is a difficult thing to do because in Nigeria we believe, it's not always honesty is the best policy, and that is the wrong mindset to have. Because if we are honest with ourselves and in what we do, we won't need to look for that extra something, because as our country is growing, so are we. The extra income that people try to get by doing things that aren't right, they will get it later in life, or their children will, or their grandchildren will, as Nigeria grows to become a better place, which is
I was gonna say that I don't know about the money situation, because if you look at a lot of people who are successful, maybe in sports or in arts, they've come from backgrounds where they struggled, but their countries were able to provide them with adequate infrastructure. So for instance, like the academies for football that operate in the Western world now, they operate as kind of schools. So you're there, you're learning, you're training as well, all together, all in one, meshed into one. But in Nigeria, if you want to say, I want to be a sprinter, where do I get the facilities to train? Where do I get the proper nutrition, the proper health and physical checks I need? I don't even have access to, even if I wanted to sometimes. Do you understand? So as much as we can do to help the situation with the cultural, the mindset and all of that, it can only take us so far when the proper infrastructure is not there and the system is not fixed. Because if you look at it, Nigeria is blessed with natural talent, creativity, physical attributes beyond that of almost every nation. So why is it that we're so behind with certain things? Nobody can look at me and tell me Americans are faster than Nigerians. It's a lie. Do you understand? They have that environment to help them, push them to get there. And I think that's what we need to work on as a collective nation.
I think also one of the things that causes a strain, like for us basically, is the diversity. For example, let's take for instance in a place of recruitment of a job. So this thing of tribe, not with our generation, I would say proudly, because I had a conversation with my mom the other day, and what I was telling her was they have this stereotype in their head, because the generation where they came from was when the civil war was happening. There was this type of segregation. Because us, for example, we went to school together. Like, it was not the northern or western part of Nigeria, or we all went to school. For example, in Abuja, you meet different type of people, so you are forced to mix. But with the generation before us, that stereotype is still there. You come with a friend home today, and he doesn't say salamu alaikum, or he doesn't speak in Hausa, and the moment he leaves the house, abokin kanan daga ina yake, things like that. So these things, it limits us, because you wouldn't give a chance, because you have this stereotype in your head that somebody who is not from your tribe, somebody who is not from your state, somebody who is not from your place is automatically not your friend. So even if you have the chance to help or give opportunities to these people, because of what you were taught or what you have behind your head, automatically you limit. Because even in a place of recruitment, you could see outrightly that somebody from another part of the state or the region or whatever side is more qualified than the person that's from your state or your brother or your cousin or whatever. But then you prioritize his employment over the other simply because he is from. So the diversity is another thing that is a big problem here in Nigeria, and I think you need to find a way to like bring that down a lot for things to begin to succeed.
Okay, what if we try to move away from advocacy and try and be more result oriented? So for example, the place we're situated in is a compound for a foundation. This is one of the vehicles that is supposed to have social impact in society. If our economics, was fixed, you would have major companies out of their profits providing adequate funding for these sorts of initiatives, and you would have much more development here. So result-based thinking brings up ideas like, okay, here domestically, what do we have in store for new graduates? For example, the government has an agency, the Small and Medium Scale Enterprise of Nigeria. They have a credit facility where you can get 2.5 million collateral free. It's one of the only credit facilities where you can access finance collateral free. The interest rate is a bit high, but it's still within single digits. What if we can identify clusters within universities that have the potential to create wealth and allocate money in a targeted manner, so that you finance industries with high growth potential? So when you look at our economy, we're highly import dependent, and if you can finance small businesses that are capable of making manufacturing Nigerian goods, that would accelerate our economic growth. That would be results based. I think we need less advocacy and more results.